On this episode of Tesla Tidbits, that full self-driving button isn't coming as soon as expected, the refreshed Model S with new software was caught in public, the legal department decides to take on third-party accessory sellers, and much more. This is Tesla Tidbits episode number 646 for March 21st, 2021. Our lead story this week comes from Elon himself, and is something I basically warned of last week, just not for the reasons we would have expected. Elon announced via Twitter that the button to download the full self-driving beta is not coming in the expected timeframe. Quote, "Given significant architectural changes, including fundamental improvements to pure vision, there is limited value to testing 8.x, hoping to upload version 9.0 and button next month." End quote. As I warned last episode, you always have to take Elon time into account, but I don't think this is your typical Elon time delay. Normally, Elon time comes into play when something isn't ready on the timeline he thought it should be. This, however, seems to be an instance where what should have been tested is essentially no longer relevant due to advances made after the original announcement. This also begs the question, did any of the original testing matter? If it's the huge change it would appear to be, it's possible all that original testing was for naught. However, it's also entirely possible that there were lessons that applied, regardless of the mode the system is operating in, maybe related to labeling and processing, or some other ancillary thing that we're unaware of. Regardless, Button Watch 2021 will continue, and we shouldn't expect anything until April. Tidbit number 2 today comes from the Tesla Motors subreddit, courtesy of user FridayTheDog111. This redditor caught a prototype charging at a supercharger and got the engineer driving it to give him a sneak peek at the new software coming in version 11. I must say, the videos and pics I've seen are slick. However, as we've already seen in Tesla history, not everyone gets the new shiny. The Model S prototypes are running new center screen hardware under the hood, as well as sporting a new aspect ratio for the screen. It's possible that this doesn't make it to the existing fleet, but we'll have to see. Additionally interesting is that the employees said they will all ship without the yoke, due to it not being approved by regulators at this time. New owners would be asked prior to delivery which steering they'd prefer. Next, Smart Shift, while being available on the vehicles, can be ignored in favor of manual shifting. Operation is allegedly achieved by pressing the rightmost button on the steering wheel, which will bring up your gear selection. Scroll to the gear using the right scroll wheel and click it to select the gear. And lastly, the screen has tilt, hallelujah, and can be moved to face more toward the driver or the passenger. This lets passengers handle radio duty more easily, letting the driver concentrate on the road. We're supposed to get a full event detailing all the new features of the redesigned Model S and Model X, so I'll keep an eye out for the latest. Our third tidbit concerns title changes for 3 of the biggest names at Tesla, courtesy of Sawyer Merritt, who I saw it from first. Elon, Zach Kirkhorn, and Jerome Guillen all got title changes last week, and frankly, the result is one of the many reasons I love this company. Firstly, the actual important one, Jerome Guillen is no longer president of automotive. He is now the president of Tesla Heavy Trucking. As he already was one of the principal leaders on Tesla Semi, the move makes sense. Some are seeing this as a demotion since automotive would encompass all of Tesla's vehicles, but I see it more as a lateral move and another sign that things are getting serious for the Semi. Additionally, Sawyer reports that dedicated positions related to Semi will be popping up soon, and that Guillen wants them filled before Q2 is out. For your laugh of the day, Elon and Zach also got title changes. While they'll remain as employees filling the SEC-mandated roles of CEO and CFO, Elon is now, seriously, Techno King of Tesla. That's his title. And Zach Kirkhorn is now Master of Coin. I'm not sure if they have a Chief Information Security Officer, but if they do and I were them, I'd request a title change to Chief Security Ninja myself. I love that everyone doesn't take themselves too seriously at the company, even though the company's mission is as serious as it gets. Tidbit number 4 takes us back to a bizarre story where a Russian hacker attempted to bribe a Giga Nevada employee to assist in releasing malware on the Tesla network. Teslarati reports that we have a resolution to that case. Igor Igorovich Khrushchev has pled guilty to multiple charges of, quote, conspiracy to intentionally cause damage to a protected computer, end quote. If you recall back in the summer, he offered up to $1 million to a Giga Nevada employee if that employee would simply plug a USB drive into a computer and let it do its work. The employee, showing a moral compass that we can only wish the entire world had, instead worked with the FBI to have Khrushchev arrested as he was in progress attempting to flee the country in Los Angeles. The possible sentence, were he found guilty, would have been up to 5 years in the slammer, 3 years supervised release, and a $250,000 fine or twice the gross gain or loss resulting from the offense, in addition to a special $100 assessment. Apparently, the evidence was convincing, as Khrushchev originally pled not guilty to the charges, but changed his plea here recently, ending the case. In pleading guilty, the resulting sentence is a 4 to 10 month sentence with the same 3 years supervised release and only a roughly $15,000 restitution. Tidbit number 5 is an odd but not unfair story we get thanks to Bloomberg. Apparently, as a result of the full self-driving beta getting a wider release, the Chinese government is now concerned about Tesla vehicles on its military installations, including military housing, so it has instituted a ban for Tesla vehicles, which of course would prevent those residents in military housing also from owning any Tesla vehicle. The issue at hand is that the cars not only report back location information to Tesla, but the company also has the ability to retrieve video as part of its capability to improve the autopilot system. The fear is that this could be turned over to the US government or its allies, compromising Chinese military operations. Responding to the ban, Elon of course said the company does not and would not do this, as they would be, quote, shut down everywhere, end quote, if they did such a thing. While this makes for a fun story, the reality is that any entity anywhere that requires operational security could and should do the same thing to Tesla or any brand of vehicle that boasts the same capabilities. A rolling server farm complete with 360 degrees worth of cameras and a GPS locator on your installation is a complete failure of OPSEC. So while this seems bad on its surface, it's really a nothing burger, and nobody should have expected that this wouldn't happen at some point. Tidbit number 6 is a sad piece of news we learned courtesy of Teslarati. Progress sometimes comes at a cost, and the progress of the refresh of Model S and Model X is going to cost the Netherlands its Tesla plant. If you're unaware, Tesla owns a plant in Tilburg, the Netherlands, where it would assist with Model S and Model X final assembly for European deliveries. After the refresh, along with the new Plaid powertrain, people close to the facility say production can, quote, no longer technically take place on an industrial scale at this location, end quote. Apparently, the factory will not be completely abandoned, and Tesla is looking to find the 96 folks that will be displaced another job within Tesla. It's possible that the factory could be repurposed for other work, but the production shutdown is understandable given that Giga Berlin will be online very soon. Having two factories so near each other doesn't really make much sense from an efficiency standpoint. My best to those affected by the move. Here's hoping you're able to find employment regardless of employer soon. Lastly, for this show, we end on a rare down note. You know I don't like to do that at the end of the show, but the Tesla sphere blew up a little bit recently here, and Tesla in the Gong first alerted me to the fact that basically everyone that produces third-party Tesla accessories in the US received a cease and desist letter related to their accessories. Further posts from Abstract Ocean, Evanex, and more confirm the story, ending a great service to the Tesla community. According to an Abstract Ocean blog post, they asked to simply pay for a license or get some kind of dispensation to continue the sales of the offending merchandise, but they claim Tesla said they, quote, do not want to offer any licensing at all to any aftermarket seller, end quote. This has touched off several sales at aftermarket sites to liquidate this inventory, as it would appear they have a time frame to stop selling the merchandise. So if you're looking for third-party Tesla accessories, now is the time to buy, as it appears after March 26th, many of these will no longer be available. That'll do it for this week's show. Thanks to all my patrons supporting the show at patreon.com/Tesla Tidbits. And as always, I have a special shout out to all the super patrons supporting the show at the $10 plus level. They are Ryan Scarborough, Lee Sweet, William Henry Crew III, Dorian Steve Guberman, Ralph and Cheryl Waterhouse, Todd Sullivan, Zortec LED Canada, Raymond and Deborah Malkowitz, Vicky Kirk, Ricky Johnston, Nathan Garza, Ed Patterman, Sunil Joseph, and Brad Lettner. If you have feedback for me, the best way to be heard is to tweet at Tesla Tidbits and use the hashtag AskTeslaTidbits if you'd like your question to be considered for the show. Until next week, keep it charged and hit the road.